Chapter 122. I admit defeat. Kang Chon looked at him coldly. This fellow even had murderous intentions towards him. Could it be because of the water spirit fruit incident last time? Zhonglai, are you threatening a junior? You all heard it. If anything happens to Overlord in Demon Yuan City, it has nothing to do with the Zhong family. Yun Baishan laughed coldly. At this moment, he no longer had his elegant aura, and his entire body looked at Zhonglai eerily. The last time the Zhong family attempted to kidnap his two daughters for the account. Although he did not make a move, it did not mean that he gave up on retaliation. They, the Yun family, were definitely not so easy to bully. Being able to dominate Demon Yuan City for so many years, Yun Baishan's methods were not as gentle as they appeared on the surface. Listening to Yun Baishan's aggressive words, Zhonglai's face clouded over. He was merely looking at Kang Chon's arrogant appearance, but he didn't want to be caught by Yun Baishan's words. As everyone knew, in the Great Tang cultivation world, there was an unspoken rule that whenever an older generation expert killed a young powerhouse for no reason, they would suffer the sanctions of the entire Great Tang cultivation world. This was to prevent those young geniuses from dying young on the road to growth. Of course, this rule is only for those great geniuses or famous youth figures in the Great Tang cultivation world, like those young cultivators without fame. Even if they die, no one will know. Overall, this world was still a place where the strongest were honored. Kang Chon was now a celebrity in the Great Tang cultivation world. His every move was being watched by everyone, and now if any of the older generation of masters dared to target him, they would immediately suffer the scorn of the entire Great Tang cultivation world. Of course, if Kang Chon went crazy on his own and insisted on finding trouble with the older generation masters, then he would be looking for his own death and couldn't blame anyone else. However, Kang Chon wasn't that stupid yet. Yun Baishan, as a senior, Mr. Zhong is merely reminding the Overlord to be careful of the treacherous nature of the cultivation world. You've taken yourself too seriously. Haven't you seen that the Overlord himself didn't even say anything? Zhonglai mocked. I'm just warning you, there are some people that you can't offend. Humph. Yun Baishan sniffed and laughed coldly. He just wanted to create a tense atmosphere between the Zhong family and Kang Chon. In this way, if something really happened to Kang Chon, the Zhong family would not be able to get off the hook no matter what. On the contrary, even if Kang Chon was fine, the Zhong family being like this would leave a bad impression in Kang Chon's mind. It had to be said that a dog that bites never barks. Although Yun Baishan appeared to be gentle and elegant, but as the head of a large family, his methods were not so open and above board. Some vicious and poisonous tricks he would use as well. Only that he saw clearly and knew that geniuses such as Kang Chon couldn't be offended. So he always created an image of righteousness in front of Kang Chon. So he always created an image of justice in front of Kang Chon. Shen Tahong watched from the sidelines with cold eyes. After so many years of secretly working with the Yun family and Zhong family, he was very clear about Yun Baishan and Zhonglai's character. Zhonglai was vicious and venomous. That was all on the surface. Instead, Yun Baishan had been holding back, making him very scornful. All right, you guys better hurry up and compete. In the end, it was still the city lord who interrupted the heated confrontation between the two sides. Yun Baishan and Zhonglai each snorted coldly and said no more. Kang Chon had been coldly watching the scene from the middle of the field without saying a word. Hey, see, kid, this is the world of cultivation where you are at war with each other. When you get to the Heavenly Tao sect, the people's hearts and minds there are far more sinister than here. And if you're not careful, you'll be eaten without any bones left. Emperor Dan heatedly laughed. As long as I'm strong enough, intrigues and plots are all trivial. Kang Chon snorted coldly in his heart. The words are true, but strength is to grow slowly. There are times when you still have to learn these people's tactics. Don't have an honest and righteous image all day long. That's a great loss. Dan Emperor taught. After being with Kang Qian for so long, he found that although this kid was smart, there were times when he was more rigid, which was very disadvantageous in the cultivation world. In the face of Emperor Dan's bitterness, how could Kang Qian not know, but for him to be like these people, putting on a hypocritical face all day long? That was something he could never do too. Compared to these plots and tricks, Kang Qian felt that he only needed to do his best to improve his strength. Between his dialogue with the Dan Emperor, a middle-aged man walked out from amongst the Zhong clan's camp and came into the arena. When Kang Qian saw this person, his eyes couldn't help but narrow. This Zhong clan seemed to have got it wrong. Was this person still considered a youth? This age was also allowed to come to participate in the competition. In fact, there was no need for Kang Qian to be puzzled. The crowd outside watching the battle had already exclaimed, "Isn't that Zhongli's ninth brother?" Although he is dozens of years younger than Zhonglai, he is also a person of the same generation as he Zhonglai. How can he participate in the three families' martial arts? The crowd was puzzled. Yun Baishan even directly glared at Zhonglai and said, angrily, "Zhonglai, you're breaking the rules." Shen Tehong's face did not look good either as he coldly looked at Zhonglai and said in a deep voice, "Violating the rules of the three families meeting martial arts. The other two families have the right to impose sanctions on the third family." After saying that, killing intent flashed in his eyes. Although their Shenta family had failed this time, the regulations of the three families meeting martial arts had been proposed by the ancestors of the first generation of the Shenta family, and he would never allow anyone to violate the regulations. The Demon Yuan City Lord also frowned as he looked at Zhonglai, wanting to see how he would explain. But to everyone's surprise, Zhonglai said very innocently, "Did I break the rules? Doesn't the rule say that as long as one's descendants are under the age of 50, they can participate in the three families' martial arts? You guys can ask my ninth brother how old he is." Humph. In the middle of the field, the middle-aged man that Zhonglai had called his ninth brother said awkwardly, I'm 49 this year." After saying that, his face turned red with shame. If it wasn't for the benefit of the Zhong family, he wouldn't have been able to pull this face anyway. Holy shit. When Kang Qian heard that sentence, "I am 49 this year," he almost fell to the ground. This Zhong family is too shameless. Even playing tricks on this, at the expense of their Zhong family, being one of the three great families of Demon Yuan City. The crowd outside the arena was also dumbfounded. No one could have imagined that Zhonglai would give such an explanation. How thick-skinned does he have to be to do such a thing? Yun Baishan was even more furious to the point of spitting blood at the words, both eyes glaring at Zhonglai, unable to speak. Shen Tehong's brain went back, then he lifted his head and no longer paid attention to their Zhong and Yun family matters. Anyway, the Zhong family did not violate the rules. He was happy to see these two families fighting each other. Zhonglai laughed. "Yun Baishan, I'm not breaking any rules here. If you're not convinced, you can also go find a 49-year-old to come." Yun Baishan was furious at his words. Their Yun family had any 49-year-olds. Although there were a few sons and daughters in their 30s, they were far worse than Kang Qian. And this ninth brother of Zhongli's wasn't bad in terms of talent. At the age of 49, he had already cultivated to the 9th level of the Jiden stage, and was the next Yuanying stage powerhouse of the Zhong family's future. Begin. Kang Qian was a bit unable to look on. 49 is as good as 49. It is just right to fight with an older generation expert before dueling with Li Laoqi. To see how powerful a real Jiden stage 9th layer powerhouse is. If he could not defeat this person, how could he defeat Li Laoqi? Seeing Kang Qian speak, Yun Baishan no longer said anything, coldly snorted and stood aside. But in his heart, a wave of worry rose. The gap between the 9th level of the Jiden stage and the 8th level of the Jiden stage was very large. He was afraid that Kang Qian was afraid that he was going to lose the battle this time. After all, Zhongli's ninth brother and Kang Chon's cultivation gap is too big. One is the ninth layer of the Jidan stage. One is the ninth layer of the foundation establishment stage. If it was someone else, there is no need to fight. A sneeze by a strong Jidan stage 9th layer is a sneeze to death of the 9th layer of the foundation establishment stage cultivators. The two sides are completely incomparable. This is also Kang Chon's fame is big enough, coupled with his horrific battle record. Otherwise Yun Baishan directly announced to admit defeat. In the arena, as Kang Chon's words fell, that Zhongli's ninth brother glanced at Kang Chon gratefully and said, "Young man, your talent is amazing. This time, for the sake of the Zhong family's interests, I had to take a shot at you, so I hope that you will bear with me. It doesn't matter. I also want to learn the power of a 9th level Jidan stage cultivator. You don't have to be merciful. Take out your strongest strength." Kang Chon nodded. This 9th brother of Zhonglai was not bad. "All right, I will satisfy you. In the face of a supreme heavenly pride like you, even the older generation of experts wouldn't dare to underestimate you." Zhongli's 9th brother's eyes said gruffly. Just now he had already seen the battle between Shen Tuji and Kang Chon. Although the two didn't continue, they had already made his heart tremble. Even if he was at the 9th level of the Jidan stage, he didn't dare to underestimate this terrifying youth in front of him. "You make the first move." The two of them held each other for a moment, and after both of their auras had coalesced to the apex, Zhongli's 9th brother said. No matter how thick-skinned he was, he didn't feel good about making the first move against Kang Chon at this time. "Then you be careful, break the sky." Kang Chon didn't refuse when he heard this. Facing a 9th level Jidan stage powerhouse, he didn't dare to be careless, and the moment he struck, it was his strongest move. The powerful idea pressure swept out once again. Zhongli's 9th brother was instantly filled with gravity. Even if his cultivation had reached the 9th level of the Jidan stage realm, he didn't dare to be careless in the face of the idea's pressure. Along with the huge pressure is an incomparable blazing sword on asterisk 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 comes to Zhonglai 9th brother's head, a knife cleave down. Without the slightest concealment of strength, Kang Chon's first knife is the strongest knife. Whether it is the intention or all the true essence are released in this instant, the horror of the knife on ripples out of more than 100 Zhonglong waves of air, very vast. Such a stunning blade. This is the first time that Mr. Zhong has seen it in this life, worthy of being the overlord. A trace of awe flashed through Zhongli's 9th brother's eyes, and then his entire body's true essence lifted up, erupting with the massive aura of the 9th level of the Jidan stage. Just like Shen Tuji, Zhongli's 9th brother had already reached the tipping point of condensing his intent. As long as he stepped into this step, he would not be far from the Yuanying stage. In terms of the thickness of true essence, Shen Tuji was even unable to compare with Zhongli's 9th brother. After all, the true essence of the 9th level of the Jidan stage, that was already close to the Yuanying stage. If the true essence in Kang Chon's body was a river, then Zhongli's 9th brother's true essence was an ocean. Even if Broken Sky was incomparably powerful, in the face of Zhongli's 9th brother's vast and endless true essence, he couldn't help but feel powerless, and finally dissipated in the rush of true essence. After Kang Chon's slash, he retreated a few steps with a grave expression on his face. He didn't care if his slash was unsuccessful. A Jidan stage 9th layer powerhouse wasn't supposed to be something he could defeat with a single slash. Is it time to perform the heaven-breaking hand? Kang Chon thought in his heart. The power of Broken Sky had already exceeded the Overlord Fist. If Broken Sky couldn't even defeat the opponent, then only the heaven-escaping hand was left as a masterstroke. On the opposite side, Zhongli's 9th brother didn't rush to attack Kang Chon. Although he had defeated Broken Sky, he had also suffered a not so light shock. Moreover, what he was most afraid of was Kang Chon's heaven grappling hand that had shaken the great Tang cultivation world. Ever since the battle at the Fendu martial arts arena, the power of the heaven escaping hand had spread throughout the great Tang cultivation world, and many of the older generation of powerhouses were studying this powerful divine ability. In the end, they came to the shocking conclusion that the heaven escaping hand could not be broken, and could only be destroyed with great strength. In other words, amongst his peers, Kang Chon's heaven escaping hand was completely invincible. The heaven escaping hand move was feared by many, and the same was true for Zhongli's ninth brother, who did not dare to attack carelessly to suffer from Kang Chon's entrapment. Before he had truly seen the power of the heaven escaping hand,